It is just, because there's a seam.
His groin plate?
Well, the very bottom of that. Where that seam hooks to, if you will, where the seam of the figure connects right there. Sure. And this is just a little piece, I don't know, a couple millimeters high that somehow broke off.
Iron Man broke his taint.
Come on and visit for any occasion. So keep patting down waiting, comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dale Bush.
It's just up at North Avenue in Ashland.
Up at that Hollywood Grill.
At Hollywood Grill, an undiscovered gem of Chicago. And that's where you really got to get that egg and waffle breakfast. Side order some sausage.
No, you got to say a bunch of things that they don't have. Got to get that pasta dinner. Tacos, I hear, are fantastic.
You know what? I bet you
go in there and say, "I want a burrito," and they're gonna say, "I know what you mean."
I bet you they do all those foods.
I'm trying to think of what
I bet you they do.
They're diners. So I'm trying to think of specific what's
trout amandine,
yeah.
lobster. All my choices are seafood.
Quail eggs. They definitely do them up right there at the Hollywood Grill.
It's not on the menu, but if you just tell them Big Kev sent you, get you that plate of escargot. Dal, often when we start recording on a Friday evening after I've come from work, it's filled with stories of how angry I got during the day.
Sure.
Well, it is a Friday.
And I did not realize we had started recording, so go on.
That's why I repeated all my Kevin Nashisms.
I thought we were just telling a joke.
We were.
We're having a little funny story with
We're
each
doing
other.
that. That's exactly what we're doing. Just to an audience.
Didn't realize that was for public consumption.
Well, I got to tell you that we were accused of being a little dull last episode, a little stiff.
Sure.
A little too inside baseball.
I don't even remember what we talked about, but I'll agree with that.
To which I said, it's a business podcast. Sometimes business is dull.
Yeah. Also, I would not refute anyone deciding this podcast was dull.
We talked about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. We talked about the 6 Sidekick signing.
Oh, okay.
We talked about not
I read issue 4
masks.
of that, by the way.
Yeah, good stuff.
So good.
Good stuff.
The fight scene in that. Oh, man.
The framing sequence, you'd see what I was telling you about how you needed to see that on paper, not on a PDF. The fight framing, the gutter fight scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think the PDF worked fine.
But I mean, it's going to be so much better.
I view 2 pages at a time on my PDF viewer.
I do not. I do a section of the page at a time. I lower
For
it down.
that very reason.
Well, my computer screen isn't 60 inches or whatever yours is.
I sit very far away, though. You sit... I mean, the way that you sit to your monitor, I think, has the same effect in your field of vision.
I sit at a desk. You sit on a couch.
Right, but that's the thing. My monitor is way bigger, but I sit much farther back than you do, so it balances out.
Well, if you thought last week was boring...
I don't care. Didn't care then, don't care now.
Yeah, we talked about comic suite problems.
Okay. Ordering
through Penguin Random House. Bad Idea, which I feel is a thing we'll never talk about again.
Okay.
And Web of Spider-Man. It's not that dull. It's not that dull. I thought it was fine.
I don't care.
Also, and I say this to you often before we start recording.
Yeah.
Although this time it's after we're recording. I don't have anything this week.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
I read some DC books while I was sitting around.
Yeah.
I read
Batman Reptilian.
Batman Reptilian, the next issue of Robin, and then the first issues of Checkmate and Infinite Frontier.
Yeah, boy, I sure loved doing the FOC for Infinite Frontier number 2 today.
When we haven't even sold issue 1 yet.
Spoiler, we ordered much less than number 1.
Sure.
Spoiler, we ordered way less of Supergirl number 2.
I guess we'll see where that goes, but it definitely didn't seem like a lot of people were that interested in it.
No. It's really hard for us to push DC books, though. We've mentioned this before. It's hard for us to get behind a DC book because there's just not enough time to promote it and stuff.
Yeah, as always, the irony of unifying communications across all channels is that, in general, most DC books are completely off people's radars. Whatever way they would learn about comics and stories, not working for DC at all. Some of that is just because, since it exists outside like the normal previews life cycle, you know, the catalog is released earlier and the FOCs are done on weird dates, and everything is kind of misaligned. The ways that people would find out through a comic shop that orders most of its single-issue comics through previews doesn't work for DC. So, yeah. I mean, shit, we'll see how it works for Marvel in a couple months when they're also outside the previews life cycle. Although that said, it feels like Penguin Random House is trying to do as much as they can to be like, you're getting it through a different distributor, but like FOC dates are the same, initial order dates are the same. Like, things feel kind of similar.
Yeah.
As opposed to DC that was like immediately like, the release date is different, the FOC dates are different, the initial order dates are different. Like, everything was completely new and different. Yeah, I read some of those DC books, and Robin continues to be really good. Batman Reptilian was 100% not for me. I did not like the art at all.
Yeah, I flipped through it right away, and I thought, oh, it's
impossible to understand what the hell's going on any page and in any panel. There's a thing that happens on, like, the end of the first sequence in the book, and it's pivotal, and I genuinely could not tell you what happened.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you what sort of maybe happened or the effect it had, but, like, the actual, like, physical reality of that sequence is terrible. Everything in the art is very, like, you know, Bernie Wrightson meets Dave McKean. It's just, yeah, there's going to be a fan out there who's going to dig it, but I was not that person.
Were you reading mine? Did you take from my piles?
I didn't. I didn't care for Batman Reptilian at all. I found the story and the execution to be really mediocre. I didn't care. I tell you what I did like, though.
It feels like he's trying to be... did you say Dave McKean?
Yeah, Dave McKean meets Bernie Wrightson.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to make this his
the
Arkham Asylum.
Or the Cult.
Or the Cult. When, I mean, after just getting off of 2 years of regular pen and ink work on Green Lantern...
Yeah. No, this is not that at all.
No.
Like, it's murky, and I just didn't like it at all. I did, however, actually like Infinite Frontier
Alfred?
#1. Yeah, it's Alfred.
Okay.
It's a Black Label book, so it's not...
Okay. I'm saying it does not look like an Alfred.
In the context, it's easy to get that it's Alfred because he's in the Batcave and he's talking to his snarky butler. But yeah...
oh my god,
yeah.
What is that Joker nose? Oh, that's so bad.
No, it's terrible. Changing gears, though, Infinite Frontier #1, I actually really liked it.
Good, because I heard #2.
I heard. And less of #1, I also heard.
No, less of #2 than #1.
Right, that's what I
you
thought
said
I was saying.
Oh, you said less of #1.
I did mean to.
Okay.
Anyway, Infinite Frontier #1.
Did you read it?
I did. I really liked it. It's very much a continuation of, like, the whole Crisis worldscape that they've been working on for the last 30-something years.
Does it...
what is it now? Is it, like... 36 years?
Okay.
More or less?
86? 85?
Yeah, like literally the first 3 words on the first page and the first panel are "Worlds Will Live."
I see.
So, like, they are right up front with, like, this is another Crisis, we're just not calling it that.
Yeah. Does it pick up right after Infinite Frontier 0?
Not right after. Like, it gets to that part of the story.
Okay. But you would definitely be...
You should read Infinite Frontier #0, at least the
0.
bit at the end. The bit at the end is what you most need to read from Infinite Frontier 0, the John Romita Jr. part. The art is Hermetico, and I thought it was actually really good. It's a very DC house style.
Does anybody, speaking of house styles, mention any, shall we say, foreign wrestling submission styles?
I don't think so.
Really? Because Hermetico is such a hybrid of wrestling styles. I'm making comparison to Angelico.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Yeah, no, not that.
You're supposed to say Yabe.
Yeah, Yaveo.
Yaveo
is his Mexican submission style.
Yeah.
No.
I was leading you to that.
Oh, okay. Got it. The art's real good. The story is pretty interesting. It's very much a snapshot in the first issue of a whole bunch of different characters that are going to be important. There's a last page twist that I did not see coming and think is actually kind of cool.
Neat.
Yeah, it's an interesting group of characters. The couple problems are that it, one, sort of undoes some stuff from Tom King's Batman run, which I did not appreciate. And two, it's super duper weird because one of the things in this is like
Worlds Will Live.
Director Bones goes and recruits Cameron Chase to be part of the new DEO.
Okay, that's good. It's a good fit for her.
And then I'm reading Checkmate, and it's all like, oh, there's no DEO anymore. And it's like, oh, cool. So the same week that Infinite Frontier is coming out, we get the long-delayed Brian Bendis Checkmate book that is not at all aligning with the DC Universe anymore.
Nope.
When the whole point of Checkmate as a comic book is all of those organizations are gone. And, like, Bones is even in both books. And he's, like, a guy who works on Checkmate. And then it's like, no, he's also the head of the DEO in this other book. So, like, editorial stuff like that is unnecessarily frustrating.
Why would someone ship us a Batman?
That's a really good joke.
That damn multiverse is nothing but trouble.
Yeah, one of the things that's actually kind of fun in Infinite Frontier #1 is the idea that all of Earth knows about the multiverse now. And what does that mean? What does that mean to be a person who lives on Earth who's something like, oh, there's a bunch of different Earths, and also some of us have, like, not existed before, or existed and then didn't exist and came back? And that sort of, like, realistic view of a giant cosmic scenario.
Hey, look, that guy's back.
Yep, X-Tant's back.
How would you feel knowing that there is a multiverse of U's? There's planets, there's other Earths with other U's on it.
I don't think I'd care a whole lot.
I would want to talk to them.
That's definitely something that comes up in, like, right in, like, the first few pages, is someone being like, what if there's a me who's out there who's doing way better than I am? Like, what's the deal with that? I don't think I would care a whole lot. I assume that if there's a multiverse, I'm sure there's plenty of me's that are doing way better and made way better choices than I did.
Sure, and I'm sure one or two that have made worse choices.
Yeah, definitely a lower
Two
number.
comic stores.
Yes. A comic shop in River North. It's where Gordon Ramsay's opening a restaurant.
Yeah, just think, if we'd only waited for Gordon Ramsay's hamburgers.
Uh-huh.
For all of Gordon Ramsay's fame,
Uh-huh.
can you assign a dish to him?
I don't know enough about, like, the
Sure.
world of cuisine.
Well,
to be able
I
to
do,
that.
Dow, and it's not hamburger.
Is it not?
No.
What is he well known for?
He is well known for, scrambled eggs. People make those on every talk show, quiz show he goes to.
Why?
But because they're good. I guess I haven't had them.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Or
this is like
specifically-
a real thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
In his Hot Ones interview, they're like, hey, make some eggs.
Okay.
And 2, beef Wellington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess beef Wellington's a very British dish. I mean, that makes a kind of sense.
Sure. But I mean, I'm up for it.
Sure.
After
2 beef
the
Wellingtons.
steak and ale pie that I had at Pleasant House this week, I am for all the British cuisine ever. I mean, let's face it, I was predisposed to want that anyway.
You really were.
But
You've enjoyed a good Scotch egg once or twice in your
sure,
life.
but that Scotch egg at Pleasant House was amazing.
Fantastic.
This is the year of Penny. That's how good that egg was.
Wow. Infinite Frontier #1, yeah, I think definitely worth checking out. It's one of the first DC books in a little bit that's been one of their top tier titles that I've really enjoyed. A lot of their other stuff just leaves me real
And that's high praise because you are not a Joshua Williamson fan.
Not really, and that's the thing. Like, it's not that I've ever really disliked this stuff. I've liked a few things. I think I just mentioned Robin, which he's writing, which I actually enjoy. But yeah, like,
Up until now.
yeah, his Flash stuff I checked out on pretty fast, and I feel like he's done maybe 1 or 2 other books that I've probably
Several Batman issues.
I think I've been into a couple things, but never in like a rave sort of review. Mostly just like oh, that was all right.
Nailbiter.
Yeah, Nailbiter, not my thing.
Birthright.
Birthright, I like to start, and then I fell off of it, like I do a lot of Image stuff. He did a alien abduction comedy thing that I remember thinking was all right.
From
Image.
Oh.
I can't. It's a Xeno something was the title. I can't remember what the suffix was.
I mean, if there was a quiz that, in order to stay alive, you had to name 50% of the Image comics that have ever existed, I'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean, that have ever existed, I think I'd probably top out maybe low double digits.
Yeah. But I mean, okay.
Of percentages.
Yeah.
I mean,
gotcha.
it would not,
Gotcha.
I would not do great. I would not come close to 50%.
Even if it was a list, and knowing half of them were real and half of them were fake, I'd still miss.
Sure. I mean, we said before, there's a few books that when they come out, you're just like, man, I'm going to see this in the back issues in 5 years and be like, oh, right, that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a few Image books.
I feel like some of them already came out this week, even.
Yeah, there's a lot of Image books where, like, the numbers drop so precipitously from issue 1 to issue 2 and you're club only by issue 3, and you're like, no one's going to remember this. I hate to say it, because there's creators working on it that I really like, but I keep looking at that Amelia Clark Mother of Madness book.
Yeah.
I look at the covers and I'm like, this is going to bomb. This will not have anything close to a sustainable audience. It's only 3 issues, so like they're not exactly stepping out on a limb.
There's a whole bunch of new covers they just announced today.
They're terrible. The costume is terrible. The covers are terrible.
Man.
It's a real bummer. Like, and I mean, I didn't like the first issue. I read the PDF and I thought it had a lot of problems. But it's still a thing of like, I want some of those creators to succeed, but not on this book, because this book is not going to succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, just the idea of like, you know, and it's weird saying this considering I read issue 3 of Berserker this week and I thought it was pretty solid. But like the idea of like, oh, TV and movie actor Amelia Clark is creating a comic book is like, oh man, in 2021, really? But I mean, that's Berserker.
Yeah, but...
and it sold 600,000 copies or whatever.
I feel like, and I don't know in any way how the duties are split up for Mother of Madness, but I feel like Keanu is very hands-on and is legitimately co-writing this book. Whereas, remember when Jada Pinkett had a comic?
Uh-huh.
And Kevin Nash had a comic?
And Tyrese.
And even... oh man, this is embarrassing to not remember. Lance... Briggs had a comic?
He did, yeah.
I think those were all like, hey, here's my idea. Somebody write this for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know for sure.
I will hazard a guess and say that I think Amelia Clark is maybe involved in the actual writing of Mother of Madness because it is so badly paced and overwritten that it definitely feels like an amateur's hand at work.
I was talking to Otis Lewis today about how well Far Sector came off for somebody's a prose writer's first foray into comics.
Sure, and a 12-issue run at that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough thing to pace out correctly.
But it's a common occurrence where a prose writer comes to comics and vastly overwrites because they're not used to sharing half of the workload with somebody who shows their work visually without using their words.
Yeah, like, it feels like a lot of prose authors come in with the idea of, well, I have to have words on the page. You don't.
Yeah.
That is not the sole metric by which your success is judged, is how many words did you get onto the actual finished page.
I would like to see a prose author come to comics and do an entirely silent first issue.
Yeah, I think that was really interesting when Ta-Nehisi Coates eventually did that, because that was a criticism that got leveled at him for the first couple issues of
Black Panther. Yeah,
was
even
that
by me.
A lot of the scenes were like, oh, this is just 2 people talking in a room. You have Brian Stelfreeze and the nation of Wakanda, and you are just doing 2 people talking about, do constitutional monarchies work? Like, it's the thesis, it's what your whole series is going to be about, but man, is it boring to look at on a comic page. And so later he's like, I don't know, what if I had, like, I think Leonard Kirk was drawing it at that point. Like, what if Leonard Kirk just does this, like, silent fight scene with, like, Claw, and I can't remember who was Shuri maybe at that point? I can't remember who was running around in the book. But yeah, that's when writers get really strong, when they're like, oh, I can actually communicate my story using the artist rather than just using dialogue. And yeah, I mean, the writer for Far Sector is absolutely able to do that. And I mean, the fact that they kept Jamal Campbell around for 12 full issues when that is not usually how DC Comics work out.
Sure.
Yeah, Far Sector, and it's coming out as one collected book later in October, maybe?
Yeah, if that was a Boom Studios book, it would be 3.
3 4-issue collections. If it was a Marvel book, it would be 3 collections of 5 issues, and then 2 issues, and a bunch of, like, reprints of
back matter
unaffiliated characters
to
pad out the graphic novel. But yeah, like, DC's just doing it as, like, here's one book. And that's great, because it's for the holidays. It's like, hey, there's people who are going to be fans of that author, who are going to want to have something cool, and it's also the sort of DC superhero book that's exploring really important themes that is also not 100% looped into all of their ongoing narratives. So it can kind of exist on its own and be this little story where it's like, yes, it is a superhero comic about something in the real world by a good creative team that tells a complete story. Like, that's, for the holidays, that is ideal.
Sure. I wanted to go read the PDF for the John Kent Superman book.
Yeah.
It's not up.
Oh, that sucks.
You know, it was in the email, like, hey, here's the book to previews for.
Here's the box link.
So I go to the box link and nothing is there. And as you know, it's 2-factor authentication.
Yep.
You have to try to log in, then they have to send you a code to your phone.
God forbid anyone in the world read this Tom Taylor Superman comic that's not
annoying.
allowed to.
So I get there's nothing there. I'm like, what the hell? So I go back and actually look at the email closer. Here's the links to the books that are up online, parentheses, PDFs aren't up yet. Then why send it?
So links to books you haven't populated yet.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird way to go.
I completely agree.
Weird way to
go. We're very happy to see that Nice House on the Lake is finally announced second print.
Yeah. Was that an FOC this week?
It was FOC this week.
I didn't look at what you ordered. It was the number we talked about?
It was the number we talked about.
Yay.
Yeah. Which I honestly thought was a little high, but we'll go with it.
It's a 12-issue series.
Right. That's fine.
And
It's fine.
I mean, I don't know if you've already ordered issue 2, but we would
Oh,
probably...
we already FOC'd issue 2.
Yeah, well, that's going to need a second print, too, because I'm sure we ordered way too low.
I think we did. I can't remember now.
I mean,
No,
I
I can't
assume we
remember.
did.
I assume we did
if
as
issue
well.
1 came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. We probably FOC'd it before...
Yeah, the
number
week of
came
issue
out.
1,
Yeah.
probably.
Uh-huh.
And without knowing they were doing an issue 1 reprint, it's difficult to go up on issue 2 knowing that you're going to sell out, because it's like, well, am I going to sell out from everyone who bought issue 1, or am I going to sell out because of everyone who bought issue 1, and then everyone who's going to buy the second print of issue 1?
So the second print of number 2, if there is such a thing, probably comes out after 3 is out.
Probably.
So we're going to be playing catch-up this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be a thing like Batman Fortnite, where we just take a stronger position on another issue, knowing it might be a couple months before we have enough copies of the rest of them to catch people up. We'll see what happens. I mean, there will also be probably a number of people who picked up issue 1 that never read it, are hoarding it, or going to flip it online, and then they'll never come back for issue 2, so it doesn't matter.
I had turned my head away, and as I looked back, I saw a message move off the top of the screen, but I didn't see who it was from or anything, so I may have missed a Bob Burns input, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I know how much you look forward to
no.
those, but I may have missed it entirely, so
Sure.
there's that. I don't stare at my phone the entire recording.
Thank you. I think that's
Yeah.
polite. We're trying to have a conversation here, Patrick.
I know, right? I mean, I don't look at you either,
Not always.
but I just...
But you don't not look at me.
That's true. When I'm not looking at you, I am thinking about you.
Oh, thanks, man.
I completely lost. I had something, and I lost it. And so a bunch of tiny orders came in today.
Okay.
Today is another one of those days where it's 2.5 to 3 hours of just logging everything in
Yeah,
before I even start the day's work.
sure. You had that gigantic Southern Hobby order.
Yeah, it was pretty big, and everything had to be put in the system by hand.
Yeah.
And a club member had come in, and I'm like, oh, I just put a special order in your box. I'm like, oh, is this book? I'm like, no, it was this one. It's like, oh, because you emailed about something, but I haven't gotten to my emails at all today. So,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, the other book they wanted was still on the shelf, so it was
Sure.
fine. And then I took care of that guy with the gift card.
Yep.
Did you do your end of it?
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
Why don't you say what that was, Dale?
Oh, so we had an issue where somebody had sent us an email saying, hey, I was given a Challenger's gift card digitally, and I was about to use it on your online storefront, and then it told me I couldn't. Are there 2 different gift cards for your in-store and your online? And the answer was, yeah, unfortunately there are. Because we have 2 different point of sales, one for web sales and one for in-store sales. They have 2 completely different gift card providers.
And there's no way, like, we can't get Shopify gift cards for the in-store, and we can't get Square gift cards for online.
Yeah,
It doesn't work that
not the
way.
way that the 2 storefronts are set up.
Yeah.
Eventually, hopefully, someday, if we have a unified system, sure, but we don't. So that's where we're at right now.
Would that also include communication?
Across some channels, but not all channels.
Oh, okay. That would be foolish.
Yeah, that is. I don't exist at that high of a corporate level to be able to do something like that and have it be useful in the way that another company might.
That is a pipe dream.
I know. But one of the things that Patrick and I realized as we were talking about the situation that had occurred is that our website kind of doesn't tell you that. You can go to our website, and there is a thing at the top that says gift cards, and that leads you to the Square gift card page.
Now, when Dal says website, he means not the web store.
ChallengersComics.com. You
The
go to
website.
ChallengersComics.com, and there's a link at the top that says gift cards, and that takes you to the page that you can buy gift cards that only work inside Challengers Comics, not on the web store. That said, the web store, when you go to buy a gift card there, specifically says for online sales only, not usable in store.
Okay.
So the Shopify page,
That's nice.
when you go there, it tells you that. But when you go to the Square page, like, you would maybe naturally assume that it would work for both online and in-store sales
Sure,
when it
and
doesn't.
that's, as you said, a natural assumption, and I can't fault anybody for thinking that.
So we made a minor change to the menu bar at the top, where the gift card button now is a drop-down menu that says either in-store, and it directs to the Square gift card page where they're usable for in-store, or shop or online, or I can't remember what maybe some other word instead of online, where it takes you to the Shopify gift card page directly. So hopefully that'll alleviate some of those confusions. It won't necessarily for people who come and buy like a physical gift card in the store and hope to use it online, but that's a separate conversation that
Sure.
no amount of online notes are going to solve.
I remember when you suggested the drop-down menu, and I said, "Oh man, that's a great idea."
Mm-hmm.
And you said, "No, a great idea would have been that idea a year ago."
7 months ago. Now it's only a good idea. I also cleaned up the menu bar in general, made a couple other things drop down, so it's a shorter
nice.
bar.
Okay. Did you notice that I changed the actual Square e-gift card design?
No.
I also cleaned that up a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Because at the time we started using Square, we had
We did.
two stores.
Yeah. I had
So
not
I
noticed.
changed the logo
Good idea. When did you do that?
2 months ago.
Oh, okay. I did not notice.
That's fine. I mean, it's a very subtle change.
Cool.
Instead of a fade,
Mhm.
it's a solid.
Cool.
I did a solid.
You did us a solid.
That's right. That's what I did. So I logged in the orders that came in the correct way.
The graphic novels and
Yeah.
stuff? Oh, neat. Okay. That was
however-
easy for you?
Yes, however,
Mm-hmm.
there was a Simon & Schuster order with one book that the PO number didn't match.
Okay.
But it's also a book that has an on-sale date of June 22nd.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably because the orders that I placed Wednesday night,
Yeah.
I have not gone in and created in Comic Suite yet.
Oh, so you can do that at your leisure.
Yeah, as long as it's before the order shows up,
Yeah.
which it sounds like for one book it wasn't.
Well, it's one book. I just tuck it to the side
That's
with its
cool.
shipping order in
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I was basically planning on doing it Sunday because I thought there was a good chance that Friday night and Saturday night you would be working on the order form.
Yeah, I won't be doing the order form tonight per se,
Okay,
because I'll be editing this podcast,
sure. And then watching Dynamite.
and then definitely tomorrow night will be order pack night,
Sure. So yeah, I
provided I.
don't have plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was planning on doing the building the orders for Hachette and Penguin Random House and Simon & Schuster on Sunday because it's something I can just work on in the store and it's a little faster.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but it's bad if parts of the order I placed on Wednesday already showed up.
Hey, speaking of parts of an order,
Yo.
one of the things we got in from Southern Hobby this week was the wave of Iron Man action figures.
Sure.
You know, that's got
Ironheart, is that right?
Ironheart and Darkstar and
Hologram AI Iron Man.
Hologram Iron Man, Stealth Iron Man, Modular Iron Man, Ultron.
Okay.
So I go to grab myself a Stealth Iron Man,
Okay.
and it sounds like something's loose in the package, and I can see a little piece floating around.
Not very stealth.
I'm like, oh, I wonder what. It looks like this piece is this figure is fine, but let me open it just to double check.
Mhm.
So I open it, and it is basically the front half of his crotch. It is just, because there's a
His
seam.
groin plate.
Well, the very bottom of that, where that seam hooks
taint?
to, if you will, where the seam of the figure connects right there.
Sure.
And this is just a little piece, like, I don't know, a couple millimeters high, that somehow broke off.
Iron Man broke his taint.
Well, without his taint, Dal, guess what? His legs don't stay in.
That's what the taint's there for.
It is a completely busted figure,
Oh, that's
and
too
there's
bad.
not a damn thing we can do about it. Whenever we've gotten broken figures from Southern Hobby in the past,
Yeah, they ain't gonna replace
and
it.
I've called and said, hey, we got a broken figure, they're like, we can't do anything about it.
No.
So last time it was a McFarlane Flash.
Uh huh.
He was missing one of his ears.
We've never been
Wasn't
able to
even in the
replace.
it wasn't in the package at all. It didn't break off. Just manufactured without it. Because
Yep.
it was in the package, I would have glued it on and kept that figure for myself since I
Script
have one of those
factory.
flashes.
Yeah.
Right. So they're like, we can't help you. So I email McFarlane and I have pictures and everything. Never heard back.
Nope.
And when I say McFarlane, I mean, of course, the toy company, not Todd McFarlane.
Not him personally.
Or I guess your friend Tude McFarlane.
Tude McFarlane.
Yeah.
It's such a funny typo. It makes me laugh every time I see it. And also cringe because I'm like, how did I let that go?
So, Stealth Iron Man, we only got 2 total. I took 1, one's broken. That's it. We're effed. We're boned. And get this. The cost on those figures
higher
has, our cost has bumped $1.50 per figure.
Oof.
Yeah.
That is high.
Yeah. So
Damn.
I bumped us to $26.99 per figure.
Yeah. Okay.
But that is, if it's
we're still making less now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, considerably.
Even though we had to raise the price, we are still making less than we did before.
Yeah. So I almost
unreal.
Because if we have to theoretically in business, as this is a comics industry business podcast, if our cost goes up by $1.50, $1.50, the retail should go up $3.
Yep. Basically.
And I went up $1.
Yep. So we are definitely taking a hit on those figures now.
So I was thinking, like, do we go up $2 to $27.99? But that's a tough call, man.
It's a lot. I mean, in my brain, I'm already like, these are going to be $30 figures real soon.
Yeah, and also,
real soon.
Don't forget that that's not like the cost I'm giving you.
They should already be $30.
Isn't counting shipping?
Yeah. It is not super profitable for us to carry Marvel Legends figures, but we like doing it.
Yeah.
They're cool to have. But boy, are they not a huge profit driver for Challengers Comics and Conversation.
Especially when one shows up broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many figures that are coming out that are just the margins get smaller and smaller.
Yeah, they're bad. But I mean, that's in general. That's the toy market. Like,
I know it's not like if we paid $500 to get like a working Nano Gauntlet.
Yeah,
we're not selling that thing for $1,000. That's not how it works.
No,
but because it's a high price point, you could get away with, tacking on a couple $100 to it.
And that's the thing. Like, when it's a higher price point item, a lower profit margin is kind of fine because we have, as a business, fixed costs. Our costs don't necessarily scale with the type of product we sell. But at the same time, like, when we're selling, a $26 figure and we're only making, I don't even know what our discount is, but in general, I'm just going to round down and say, like, maybe we're making like $10 on it. We have to sell the entire case of figures.
It's less than $10.
Sure. But let's say $10, just for a round number. We'd have to sell the entire...
But I just wanted to say that so people could see how even more pathetic it is.
Yeah. So even if we sold an entire case of action figures, we're not even making like $100. Like, in profit, we're not even making that.
We're making less than $80 on a case of figures.
So if we were to get, only a 20% profit margin on a $600 thing, that's fine because that's still more than, the $100 or whatever the $80 we might make on a case of action figures. So it's the problem with the Marvel Legends figures is that it's a low margin on something we don't sell a lot of. So, and also for something that ends up not having a very high final price.
And also something people like to steal all the time.
They do. So, I mean, there's a bunch of things with carrying action figures where it's like, it is not a really profitable part of our business. There are a bunch of things working against it. And again, like, that's the toy market. You look at, like, a Big Bad Toy Store, and I know they're getting a much higher discount on their Hasbro action figures than we are because of the volume they order at and the direct orders they do through Hasbro. But they're not making a ton per figure. Like,
no.
You have to do that kind of volume, and even then, you kind of have to be an online-only storefront. Like, that's the only way that makes any sense. We're not, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But again, we like Marvel Legends action figures. We like toys in general.
Because we're giant children.
We are. We're nerds and children and child nerds.
We make no bones about that.
No.
I don't even fully understand that statement, make no bones about it, but we definitely don't shy away from it.
No.
Podcasts make everything better. Imagine 10 of Chicago's best podcasts on vinyl. I'm James Van Osdol, and if you love podcasts like I do, including this one, consider pledging to make Phonation happen. Phonation, a Chicago podcast compilation, is a 10-track vinyl-only release that's raising funds through June 25th. Search Phonation, PHO Nation, on Kickstarter or Google. Thanks for listening to and supporting Chicago-based podcasts.
I think we're both finding Loki to be okay, but nothing that's necessarily setting our world on fire.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it seemed like there were a lot less fan theories during Falcon and Winter Soldier. than there were during WandaVision, but all the fan theories are back for Loki.
Yeah, they
And it's
really
just like,
are.
haven't you people learned?
Yeah,
Have you learned?
I was talking with someone about that this week, where, like, I have very little patience for a lot of those sort of articles and fan theories and stuff, because 99% of them were wrong on WandaVision, and half of the ones that people were thinking about for the very few number of theories that Falcon and Winter Soldier had were completely wrong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, they're going to Madripoor, we're going to see Wolverine. Like, you're not going to see Wolverine.
Gina had said, hey, what do you think about this particular Loki fan theory? I said, A, I've not heard about it, and B, I don't think so.
Yeah. Like, and this is the thing that
But this is how they get introduced this as a villain because of this, and like, okay.
The interesting thing to me about these Disney Plus shows is that every single showrunner has basically said, I have no idea what Marvel's plan is. It's
Yeah,
not like
they don't tell us.
It's not like when you get hired for this, there's a whiteboard where it's like, here's the next 20 movies and how everything's going to connect, and then these are the things that you can start seeding into your show to set up this other thing. That stuff's all organic. If it makes sense within the context of a story, great. No one's aiming for it. Like, these shows are not created purely to be part of a machine. They are honestly actually created to be individual stories that grow the characters, and in that way set the characters up for future stories. But the design is not necessarily to be foreshadowing 15 other projects. Like, that's not how Marvel does it, and it's not what's led Marvel to be so successful in creating stories that people actually want to watch. So yeah, the idea that Loki is, like, going to be setting up Phase 4 of the MCU, like, it's literally just trying to tell a story about Loki.
Yeah.
Like, they're 2 episodes into a 6-episode series, and all it's been about is just Loki as a character. That's it, and that's why it's fun to watch. That and Owen Wilson.
Hey, I did hear some big comic related news today.
Did you?
Nick Spencer's leaving Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, his run's ending. He was on the book starting July 2018. He's going to be wrapping up, I think, the September-October issue.
So the end of September's issue.
Yeah, issue 74 is going to be another oversized issue.
Another 80-pager.
And I realized, oh man, that dude's been on that book for a little over 3 years, and he did 74 numbered issues.
Yeah.
In addition to one-shots and point issues. That's insane.
Yep.
That is an insane amount of material. No wonder he's done. He did like 100 Spider-Man
In the
comics
world,
in 3 years.
In a different world, it would have been 36 issues.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's not what it means to be the Spider-Man writer at Marvel
No,
anymore.
definitely not.
You absolutely better be able
We're
to
gonna
do
burn you out.
like a minimum of 20 issues a year of content. At least 20.
It's just so annoying to me that the majority of his entire run is definitely his Harry Osborn villain.
Oh, Kindred?
Yeah. All I can remember was Carry On. I know it wasn't Carry
It
On,
wasn't
so that's
Carry
a
On.
different character.
Yeah, I mean, Kindred is absolutely like the main villain.
Why would
for
I
his
forget
run.
the Rob Lowe werewolf TV series?
I hope that comes up in the final issue.
It should.
I hope that's Peter Parker's mnemonic
should.
device. Oh, Kindred, like that movie.
Like the TV show.
Like the TV show.
Based off of Vampire the Masquerade.
Was Rob Lowe in that, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was before his renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
On Parks and Rec.
Yeah, yep.
And The Grinder.
Literally before.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was so
Anyways,
good. One season
Yeah,
wonder.
so I don't... Already there's... Who's going to be next? It's like, I don't know.
Let this guy finish his story. He's got, like, at least... He's in the middle of a big Chameleon story, and then he's got another big story that, like, Sinister War is a 2-month thing.
Yeah.
And then he's got another story after that, somehow. Like, Jesus.
I just hope that, A, they don't renumber this.
They absolutely will, but go on.
But, I mean, because he's ending at 74, right?
Sure.
So 75 could just be the starting of the creative team.
Definitely not, but go on.
And that whoever it is somebody, not just like, oh, here's a bunch of fill-in issues or a miniseries.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be somebody big because they have not traditionally done, like, we're going to launch a Spider-Man book by nobody, and
Right,
then
but I
eventually
mean, they haven't
good.
said they're launching it. You're just assuming.
But they're going to.
So here's my guess. Here are my guesses.
Dan Slott, go on. Has
Jason-
he ever had a good Spider-Man run?
Jason Aaron,
Okay.
because he's never done Spider-Man before.
Do you think he's close to being done with Avengers, though?
I don't know. I mean,
The Squadron Supreme stuff has been percolating for a while, and we had this
sure.
gigantic
I mean,
Heroes
he
Reborn
wrote
story.
Heroes Reborn before the pandemic.
Yeah,
So I mean, he's got stuff in the can for sure.
sure.
But also, he could do that as well. Like,
he could,
what,
but
what
he's
else
not
is he
really.
doing?
He's pruned down a lot of his Marvel stuff, though.
Sure, but what else is he doing? Goddamned is over.
Goddamned is basically over. I think it's gotten
Sea of Stars just doesn't count.
No, it really doesn't. I assume that there's creator-owned stuff that he's working on.
Sure.
I don't think we're ever
Men
going
of
to
Wrath 2.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see Southern Bastards again.
No.
Not with the creative team being
No.
what it was.
No.
That's almost definitely not going to happen.
My next choice is not choice, we guess.
Uh-huh.
I have two more guesses.
Okay.
Also, all white men.
Yeah, well, Marvel, go on.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Okay.
He's not exclusive to DC.
It's true, he's not.
He's never done the adult Spider-Man, except in the Avengers. He likes the character.
I think I've mentioned this before. One of my absolute favorite Brian Michael Bendis Marvel moments was the bit in Daredevil where Peter Parker reads that Matt Murdock's identity has been outed and thinks, "Oh my God, I always assumed it was going to be me."
Yeah, you've mentioned that recently.
He always assumed that like his identity would be the one spoiled because he was careless, not Matt Murdock. And that sense of like relief, and then immediately feeling guilty about like, oh man, this is a friend of mine. I shouldn't feel that way. I should feel bad for him. But instead, I feel like I dodged a bullet. No, not Bendis though. I don't.
And then my other guess, which I literally just thought of on the spot now, and I can see where it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Cantwell.
No, I can see.
Just because he's too busy. He can't do Iron Man and Paper Girls.
I think for some of these writers, when a book like that comes around, if you're
make
big
it
enough
work.
fan, you figure it out.
What about Jonathan Hickman? He's free.
Yeah, right. The tricky thing with Cantwell is I feel like
Ed Brubaker.
I feel like the demands of doing that sort of book, again, having to be a franchise thing,
Yeah.
make it something where you have to be somebody who can be more dedicated to the process.
And go to all the summits and know what else
Not even
happening
that, but just
everywhere
be
else.
a guy that's like, I am creating a thing that can generate additional books for the publisher.
Yeah.
Even if you're not hands-on with it, you can hand it to somebody else and they can figure it out. Here are my two, I don't want to say guesses,
Okay.
but two people I think could be on the short list. One, like all of your guesses, white guy, Matthew Rosenberg.
Okay.
I think he's a guy that's proven himself a little bit.
It does feel like if you look at the traditional Grant Morrison to Mark Miller, Mark Waid to Brian Augustyn, Matt Fraction to
Kieran Gillen.
That would make sense.
Sure. My other guess that I have no idea if he would even want to do it, and I have no idea if he feels like he has a facility for it, but I would love to see his attempt on it. Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Nice.
I think like that's so far afield from everything else, but like he's writing a Superman movie now, and I don't know if he's got the time to do that, and also like shepherd the Spider-Man franchise at Marvel. I'm sure there's plenty of other people, and Spider-Man being this sort of top-tier franchise at Marvel means that they will pick somebody good, and they have, I'm sure, somebody in mind. Like, you don't announce a writer's leaving without knowing who's replacing them, so I'm sure they have something figured out.
Yeah, but they didn't. He did.
Right, but they know that this is coming up.
Sure.
Like, the cover they showed to the final issue is clearly the final issue. So somewhere along the last 8 months, there was a discussion about, like, I am finishing my story. If not, like, my contract on this book was up. I don't know how it works.
They did announce finally Dark Ages today. Where were you when the lights went out?
Oh my god, that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's gonna care.
But it's Tom Taylor.
No one's gonna... It's so far past its initial announcement.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that part of the Free Comic Day comics last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, I know there's a pandemic and everything, but the fact that this is like Outlawed, where it's like by the time it hits stands, no one cares.
Sure. And it's everybody's in silhouette on the cover because there's no lights.
That means it's the Justice League then.
Oh, that's fair. That's what it could be.
Yeah, it's Tom Taylor. I'm sure it'll be good, and we have enough people who are Tom Taylor fans at this point, thanks to Nightwing, which is selling multiples of what it sold.
Oh my god. It's
for
selling
the last 80 issues.
4 times what it was selling.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, Bruno Redondo is the reason for a lot of that too. Like, the art is fantastic.
There
and the covers are
are
amazing.
sequences in that book, but I mean, it's just a great, fun superhero comic.
Yeah, it's a real back to basics Nightwing comic. It's him, in Bloodhaven and Bloodhaven, feeling connected to the city and trying to be a champion for like the downtrodden, and it's a very Dick Grayson superhero book, and the fact that the book also has Tim Drake and Barbara Gordon is so smart about the supporting cast and what people would want to see and how they want to feel about the characters.
And Bitewing.
Bitewing, that's true. That's a really good name. I can't remember what the name of the actual dog is. They're like, Bitewing. And Dick Grayson's like, no, her name is this. And it's like, no, it's
like
Bitewing.
Lily or something.
It's Bitewing. Yeah, I think it was like his mom's name or something. I can't remember. And then they had a gigantic twist in the most recent issue that I'm like, oh, I didn't think we were doing this. This all feels way bigger of a story than I thought it was.
It's great, though. It's a good
great.
hook.
It's a great twist.
Yeah.
It's way easier to do it in a book like Nightwing than it would be to do it in like Batman or Superman, where it's like, I don't know if the math on that works. But this is just like, no, that's fine.
See, because he has the mark of Cain, after he died, he can't die, so Dean became a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Sam has to hunt him down, but he doesn't want to stop being a demon.
Imagine
Castiel is depowered, so he can't help.
Oh, no.
And Crowley just wants his best friend back.
Typical.
Yeah, so Nightwing's all really good altogether.
Yeah.
Did you hear the Fiona Staples announcement?
No.
Oh, yeah, she's got a new project.
Oh, okay.
Magic cards.
Okay.
It's a small set of things that are already done, and like it's basically, hey, look, here's the Magic card stuff I did. It's all great. Yes, I'm still hard at work on Saga. Yes, an announcement is coming soon.
Okay. We'll wait and see.
You do not believe the book has come back.
I do not. I definitely do not. I'm going to be the one person who, when they announce, yeah, we can't finish the book, I'm going to be the one person who's like,
I told you all.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say, I saw it coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong on this. I'd love for them to announce, sometime in the next month, like, yep, it's coming back. Regular issues starting again in December or whatever. I think there's a uncertain number of fans that would be very excited to hear that news.
I still am afraid that it might be a secret Free Comic Book Day drop.
I don't think so.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Speaking of other announcements and special fun events,
yeah,
I was looking through the catalog, the new DC catalog that came out today, and suddenly there were books where it's like, oh, it's a Batman the World sampler for that costs, I don't know if it costs or costs retailers maybe 25 cents.
Okay.
And then a Batman Fear State one, and then a third one, and I'm like,
Fear State?
It's the next
yeah. Gotcha.
And then a third Batman one, and then I went, oh, right, Batman Day.
Oh. Huh.
So DC's definitely doing Batman Day this year.
Okay.
There are 3 different Batman comics. I assume to be given away. I don't really know.
A week or a month after Free Comic Book Day?
Yeah, it's September, I want to say 21st, maybe?
Man.
Somewhere in there, late in the month.
Ugh.
But yeah, it is going to be a month after Free Comic Book Day this year, because Batman Day is always in September.
Well, speaking of that same time period, you had pitched a creator event that neither of us even knew if the book had been solicited.
Yes.
And it hadn't been.
Uh-huh.
Well, it turns out it's like September 29th. And, quote, always and forever.
Oh, great. That's very fun.
And also, if Ibushi does get the belt back, he's going to be very disappointed.
Why?
Because he loves
Shingo Takagi?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do this now.
Parentheses, and I love Ibushi.
Not enough. Not nearly enough. No, I like Shingo Takagi a lot.
Also,
I would be fine.
thinks there will be, once Japan reopens, there will be
which is not soon.
a Kenny Ibushi run.
There has to be.
One more. Before Kenny retires, one more blowout.
Yeah, Bushi's going to pick up the AEW Men's Championship. Yeah, of course. That's why you got to have that match.
What about the AAA belt and the Impact titles?
I assume he'll lose those by that point.
Okay.
Unless, I would, again, love the idea of Ibushi being the IWGP, whatever they call it now. Is it the heavyweight champion or the...
I think it's heavyweight champion, yeah.
And then pick up all of Kenny's belts.
Sure.
In a belts versus
goes.
belts. Because the heavyweight championship is previously 2 other belts, so it counts as multiple belts.
Dragon or Anthony Joshua. That's how it works. You get all the belts.
Yeah, I mean, just ask Naito. I will say, though, that I do like Shingo Takagi a lot, and I would be fine with Shingo Takagi retaining the title for a little while and then Ibushi picking it up later. I don't think it's any huge insult to have Ibushi lose to Takagi. I think that's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, you made... Not you. you made Ibushi an interim champion.
Right.
He finally wins the belt and he loses immediately.
Sure. It's not great.
He had one successful defense.
It's not great.
No. So that's not carved in stone, but that's a yes.
Sure. I mean, in a way, Will Ospreay is also transitional champion.
Transitioned his neck from being unbroken to being broken.
Transition from being able to wrestle to not being able to wrestle.
And I talked to Sal Abernathy today about doing something for the hostage finally because we're ready.
Oh, right.
And the book is coming real soon, so we'll set up something then.
Cool.
And I'm really excited to see this book from him because he was showing us work from it when he did his art show with us X number of years ago. Mm-hmm. So he took his time and did this his way. So I'm really interested in this book.
This is his Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters.
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. We sold that again
Who
today.
was the artist on that again? I can't remember.
I think it was...
Ross Andrew. Right, got it.
No. It was Liam Sharp.
Oh, that's right.
I was tying it into your earlier Barry Windsor Smith reference. Oh, it was Bernie Wrightson.
Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, damn, I ruined it.
That's
It didn't even make sense.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I'm happy with my Ross Andrew line.
That's good. I mean, that's personal and funny.
Uh-huh.
And you got it.
It's like a podcast in joke now.
Sure.
Who's here?
I mean, that's what
right, Ross Andrew.
That's what this normally is. So, I discovered Gem.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Won't even go back into that one.
It's fun to do, though.
And, of course, let's not forget that Michael Marici will be signing Barbaric #1, which has already been announced going to a second print. So these first prints are going to be hot.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch of different covers. He'll be in First Thing on a Wednesday.
First Thing on a Wednesday from 11 to 1.
So those of you lining up on June 30th, swing by his little table that we'll have set up and get your copies of Barbaric signed.
There'll be a line of people because it'll be the last Batman Fortnite. It'll be number 6.
Is that right? Oh, yeah, I
Should
guess
be.
it will be.
Because 3 is this week.
You mean 5 is this week?
Is 5 this week? I thought the reprint of 3 was this week, and then 5 is... Oh, because if 3 is this week... Wait, if 5 is this week, then it's not.
5 just came out.
Yeah.
The reprint of 3 is next week.
Yeah. That's okay. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Then the week after that will be 6.
Right, but is that...
That's the 30th.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no, the 30th is just all their annuals.
Well, but that's the thing. With it being a special issue, not part of their normal routine, they'll do special projects on the 5th Wednesday. So it's possible.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that it wasn't FOC'd
Uh-huh.
with that group of stuff, but we had to do that one earlier because of the holiday.
Yeah, the FOCs for all of Batman Fortnite have been crazy.
Yeah. And as a bonus, speaking of signings and books and things, this upcoming week, Wonder Woman Black and Gold comes out. It is one of those black and white plus a color anthologies that DC loves doing now with Batman Black and White, Superman
Red
and Blue,
Harley Quinn Black and Red.
White and Red. Well, that was only online.
It was, but I mean, the graphic novel's up.
Yeah, that's true.
People can buy it at Challenger right now.
And now Wonder Woman Black and Gold. And creator AJ Mendez, who lives in Chicago, has not only a story in it, but the first story in the book.
Yep, her and Ming Doyle.
So she came by and signed all of our copies already. They are already signed. So when they go on the shelf, they'll all be signed.
Yeah, and it's a really fun first issue with additional stories as well. John Arcudi and Ryan Sook do a story. Amy Reeder writes and draws a story. Some really fun talent across that first issue. Like a lot of the DC anthologies, it's very art first. So if you are a fan of comic art, it's worth looking at.
And Ming Doyle hasn't drawn anything in a while. She's been, if I recall correctly, she's been concentrating on being a mom.
Okay.
This brought her back into comics.
And doing magic cards.
So we'll have signed copies, and if you're listening to this and you don't live in Chicago and you want a copy, you'll have to wait until they go up on our website in about a week from now, like the next Saturday.
They'll go up on the Saturday night after release.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
we're not going to be
26th?
mailing them out before that. It's just too much extra work, and we want to prioritize the in-store experience.
It's true, we always do.
Yeah. But if you want one and you come into the store, we'll have them while supplies last.
Yeah.
We ordered
Supplies are limited.
way more than we thought that we normally would if we didn't think we were getting these signed.
Yeah, that's
To
true.
be fair, I placed the order long before I asked if she would sign them.
Yeah.
But I was pretty confident she would say yes.
Yeah, and while she lives in Chicago, she's not always in
Chicago, sure. I mean, she's in demand. She's doing a lot of stuff all around the world.
It's true.
We got lucky.
Yeah, we got real lucky that we had the books at the same time she was in town, and we could make it happen.
Yeah.
And of course, as with any signed book that we have at Challengers, it's just cover price.
Yeah.
We don't mark these things
Nope.
up. Hopefully it's a nice thing that she wanted to do for the fans, and we could facilitate.
Yeah, for sure. Just a little extra Challengers bonus. We've never been let's mark things up because it's signed store.
Yeah, I mean, we're not a let's mark things up in general kind of
Sure.
store, which is why we make such
Unless
little
they're-
money on Marvel
unless they're
Legends.
Marvel Legends, yeah.
Even then.
Speaking of marking things up, man, so we got in Magic the Gathering,
Modern Horizons Dose.
Modern Horizons 2, and if you recall, a while ago, we got allocations, and I'm like, this is all wrong, and blah, blah, and how dare they?
We got allocated from like multiple configurations down to one box of one format, and we
Right.
just went, no, it's okay.
So somehow we got reallocated to one box of everything.
Yeah, basically what I was told from our rep is that, when we said that, he went to his boss and what can we do anything for these guys?
Oh, specifically because of this podcast?
I think it
wow.
was because of the email. Because we had, I think, emailed him and said,
Oh, yeah.
forget it.
Yeah, oh, no, you're right, it was, yeah.
Yeah, and so he went,
we said,
let's see
and I
if we can
quote,
fix this.
we don't even want that. We would rather have 0 than 1.
Yeah, and I mean, we weren't doing that to be like...
Dicks. It was just legitimately, it looks better. Like, I would rather not be able to service anybody in that regard than just like the first 5 people or whatever.
And I was going to say, like, we weren't doing it to, like, try and make them feel bad to get more product.
No,
like, that
no, we
that was not even on the menu. Like, we were
definitely
just
were
like,
not.
no thanks. But, yeah, they felt badly, and they moved some things around and were able to get us at least one of each
Everything.
of the formats that we had initially ordered.
But holy shit, are these things expensive?
Yeah, they really are.
They're basically double the price of every Magic thing.
Yeah.
Boosters, $7.99.
These things are like packs of gold. Like, they are crazy.
They're potentially packs of gold.
Well, that's the thing, is when it comes to, like, blind boxed or blind bagged or collectible format sort of things, potentially is as good as definite.
Yeah.
As far as the people who buy them. Like, if it's potentially a pack of gold, they're all packs of gold.
Like, the collector's boosters are like $35.
Jesus Christ.
But they're also all foil cards.
Great.
There's also 12 packs in a box.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absurd. We sold 2 of those today. And then 3 boosters of the new Pokemon set, of which we have a bajillion boxes.
We do, yeah. We're going to have to see if the Pokemon stuff is renormalizing.
The ETBs we priced at slightly lower than the last couple sets have been.
Yeah.
But the boosters are the same. And honestly, we got a ton of the last boosters, and we're just about out of those. That's fine.
They sell
I'm not worried.
at a decent clip.
Like, you think like, oh, it's doing okay. People don't care. It's really slow. And then somebody comes in and buys 2 boxes, and you're like, okay, that's
Yeah, that definitely makes a
that
difference.
changes it. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, boy, just doing the. I love just sitting here and getting my move goal,
Yeah, that's your stand goal.
my stand goal. Yeah.
You were sitting down this entire time.
Well, I am.
You raised your arm
I am
enough for it to
constantly
think,
fidgeting.
oh, he stood up.
This week alone, I've been to the chiropractor 3 times, physical therapy once, and the podiatrist once.
How, overall, do you feel now compared to before that process started?
Way worse.
Yeah? That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Like, it was normalizing. I was getting used to it, and it wasn't as aggravating. But now, every time I go to the chiropractor, they are literally touching
Manhandling.
manhandling the sciatic nerve, and then it spends the whole next day being like, you shouldn't have touched
You
me.
shouldn't have manhandled that part
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah, so today was like Wednesday.
Oof,
So
I'm
hoping
sorry.
tomorrow is like Thursday, which was fine.
Okay, that's cool. I hope so too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a whole bunch of exercises I have to do from each one of those doctors is like, hey, here's a couple pages of exercises to do. Falling apart. Anyway, Dale, I started this podcast talking about how normally I would jump into everything I hated about this Friday. And while there were points where I was as angry as I get at the store, it's fine. It's nothing.
How were drinks today?
Gina went to
I'm not
Lost
saying
Lake.
one caused the other, but go on.
No, it's not that. Gina went to Lost Lake and brought 3 custom cocktails and gave me my choice of 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she also bought me, you know, the Captain America ceramic tiki glass I have in the bar at the other end of the studio?
Sure.
There's plastic ones with lids and built-in straws.
Oh, cool.
So she bought me one of those to live at the store for all the drinks, because most of our drinks are like tropical drinks.
So you want like a good Captain America tiki glass? So you want a good Captain America?
No, I have one.
Right, but isn't that what she bought you? Like
No, she bought me a plastic one with a screw-on lid and a straw.
But it's a tiki glass.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you kept saying you want. I'm like, no, I don't want. I have.
No, I'm saying for your experiences at the store,
Yes.
since they're largely
Yeah.
tropical drinks,
Yes.
you want a Captain America tiki glass while you're enjoying your tropical
Well, I
drinks
didn't
at the
know
store.
that I wanted it. I
And
didn't
then
know that
she
it
got
existed.
you one,
Yeah.
and you were like, this is a good outcome.
Yes. Well, I mean, because she brought the tiki drinks with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, big thanks to John Massantono for his contribution to the Friday Liquor Cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
and the Springham family for their contribution. And with what Gina and I had been buying, she and I are set for the summer.
Or one really good Friday.
Today, Gina said, I kind of like it that everybody knows that we drink on Fridays.
That's great.
And I had been getting a lot of texts from Bob during the day, but they were things I need to answer unrelated to just the general tomfoolery of the normal world.
Okay.
So I couldn't read them, otherwise they wouldn't be marked as read, and I would forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think there's a way to mark of text messages unread.
I have no
I
idea.
don't think that exists. I need the little red circle with the number in it
Sure.
to remind me.
Understood.
And at a certain point, Gina had my phone, and she's like, "Oh, Bob's asking what we're drinking," and like, I can't text him back because then it opens the text chain, et cetera, et cetera. So we FaceTimed him whilst he was also drinking.
Nice.
So it was a nice little drinking moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's not. I just, because there wasn't one specific person or one specific incident. It was mainly just the frustration of trying to get everything in the system, and one particular person whose name is misspelled in club,
All right.
getting rung up and then saying to someone, "Oh, you can go in front of me." No, they cannot. No, they cannot, because
Yeah.
your stuff is all pulled here.
You're in the middle of a
And-
transaction.
and then-
you can't walk away.
Pulling a bunch of books off the shelf and saying, "Oh, I need to put this one back in my box. Why don't you buy that one now and put one of these in your box?"
Yeah.
And then having to get back in the line multiple times for bags and boards.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
Never wants to buy them when they're buying their stuff.
right.
Always wants
But
to buy them.
that's not enough to be like, "How dare you, sir?"
Right.
Although Jeannie did think I was going to lose it.
Sure.
But had they come back up and said, "Oh, I'll take that book out of my box now," I would have been like, I will hurt you. The angriest I got was somebody called and Gina answered it, and they were asking for good food recommendations in the area because they were planning a trip to Chicago and they wanted to come by the store. They wanted to know where they could eat. And
They called like
oh,
challengers.
sure, but then like Gina gave a suggestion. They kept going, and what else? And what else? And what else? And Gina asked me, and I just went, "I don't know."
Yeah. I'm bad enough when people do that when they're just in the store and they're like, "Where can we go around here?" And it's always like, "Go to Arturo's or Lazo's." There's really nothing else
Sure.
you can do. That or
She's like,
McDonald's.
"Well, I already gave him advice that way on Milwaukee. What about that way?" I'm like, "I got nothing."
Yeah, but like someone calling from out of state or whatever who's like, "I'm going to be in Chicago soon. We're going to go around there." Like, I feel like that's a problem you can solve when you're here.
Yeah.
Or since you're not here, Google Maps.
I mean, I felt the same thing as well, and I don't mind doing it when people are in the store.
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
like, look, we're busy, and Gina was being very helpful, and I'm like, you don't have to be that helpful for
No.
that situation.
Also, Arturo's or Lazo's. The end.
Yeah. Is
You want coffee? Dark
is
matter.
Irazu
The end.
is Irazu also Cuban food? I have no idea. Okay, fine, I do know it's Costa Rican,
Yeah.
but come on.
I think 90 Mile is Cuban, and that's a different direction.
Also, I'm like, yeah, there's 90 mile. Yeah, there's 99 miles. It's 90 mile. Oh, it's 90 miles. 90 mile.
Yep. Just never mind.
So I did snap, get a little catty
Yeah.
there, but
I
She was
should
just being
also
very
mention
helpful.
Small Cheval, which I really enjoy. That I feel like I don't mention enough, but I really love the
I do
burgers
like
at Small
horse
Cheval.
meat.
It's very delicious. I'm not exactly like a burger connoisseur, but I really do enjoy the burgers at Small Cheval.
What about the burgers at Pleasant House?
Also, I do like the chicken sandwich over at Boxcar Betty.
Yeah, you know what? Boxcar Betty is a good addition to the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not...
I like their nuggets.
I don't think it's anything I would go out of my way for.
You literally do go out of your way for it. Or do you only go if you're going to FedEx?
Pretty much that one.
I feel like you went there once recently where you were going to FedEx?
I think one time where it was just
Or maybe
like,
I just didn't know you were going to FedEx.
Yeah, and additionally, I don't know that I would necessarily say it's completely out of my way in that if I'm already coming home from work, it doesn't add a ton of time to my trip home.
Yeah, but it's still 5 or 6 blocks in the opposite direction.
Yeah, but that's not that much.
Okay.
It's
then
not
you double that to
It's
come
not
back.
a huge expenditure of time.
Look, I'm not complaining because I get Boxcar Betty's out of the deal.
Yeah, but Boxcar it's a place that I think is good, but not worth making a special trip for.
Sure. Okay. Well, I've never had to go there, so it's already worked out. It's always worked out for me.
Yeah.
As this podcast has worked out for you. And while it's somewhere in this episode, I don't know where, a drop-in from James Van Alstel about the Phonation Kickstarter. That Kickstarter ends on the 25th, so this is your last chance to pledge to it.
I would maybe drop it in during that gigantic silent portion where we could not think of anything else to talk about.
Oh, I would just edit that out. But you're right, that's a good place.
That's a break in the
That's a good place.
conversation anywhere you look at it.
However, I won't be editing that into the Patreon version, so go to Kickstarter and look at Phonation, and he's doing a vinyl record featuring 10 Chicago podcasts, including Contest of Challengers.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What segment? You'll have to support the podcast, to the Kickstarter to find out.
Did you pick the episode or did he?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. I'm genuinely curious.
Sure. Who wouldn't be? That's why you should pledge for this. But there's 9.
I don't have a record.
There's 9 really great podcasts on this album,
Nice.
and then us.
Well, all of ours are boring, which is something I think I said earlier this episode, so that fits.
Which we were told was last week. So anyway, I thought that was fitting to mention it since right after this you will hear James's voice yet again this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.